not you. I was here last week.
Well, that's true.
I
was the one that wasn't here last week.
This is what I mean. See,
so
you're the one who's back.
I'm the one who's back.
I was here. I was pitching in for that masterful Alexander Irby.
You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
You and Michael did a wonderful job last week. So, but I'm glad to be back.
Oh, I'm so happy you're
back.
You have no idea.
And we have a great show. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. We have a great show.
Oh, we certainly do.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of vibrant people in the room.
Exactly. We're going to be joined very shortly on the show by Dino. He's the owner of Dino's Wood-Fired Pizza and Grill, which you can find at the Dairy Market.
Which is delicious.
Which is delicious.
Exactly.
Followed by Mary Tate Campbell, an amazing local entrepreneur from the art of storytelling.
That's so important.
And then we're going to be joined later in the show by Stephen Davis, the president of CIC, and Matt Harmon, who's the owner of Harmony Wine, to talk about Harmony Wine, another fantastic local entrepreneur, as well as the upcoming 10-year anniversary and reunion for CIC. So a lot.
Oh wow, 10 years
of fun.
That's great.
Going on this morning.
No, this is going to be fantastic.
On the I Love
and a beautiful day. I mean, this is truly a beautiful autumn day, isn't it?
It is.
Sun's out. Life is good when you see things like that.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. I feel the same way. The same way. So a lot going on. Be sure to like and share.
Oh yes.
The show this morning.
That was my line. I'm supposed to say that.
Go ahead.
Don't forget to like and share.
Don't forget to like and share. Send us any comments, questions that you have for our fantastic guests this morning. So we're definitely looking forward. I'm glad to be back on the show.
Well, we're happy to have you back. I have to admit, I mean, it wasn't as hard as I thought, but I think that's because Michael just helped me out. He kept like winking or telling me, it's like, no, you got to say something else,
this,
or
do that.
You forgot this.
Don't forget to say like and share.
I'm glad he wasn't like right next to me, would be kicking me, because otherwise my chins would have been black and blue. But we worked it out. It's great.
All's well that ends well.
That's right.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us this morning on a bright and sunny morning, beautiful fall morning here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Although I still say there is just enough chill in the morning air that you should sit down with your café con leche in your nice cozy spot and sit down and watch some Today y Mañana. That would be my suggestion for this morning.
No, absolutely. I mean, that is so true. I mean, that's the one nice thing about autumn. It's like at night you open the windows, nice and cool. You get it makes it a little tougher to get up in the morning because it's nice and cool, but it's beautiful. And then you wake up in the morning, it's nice and crisp. It's not like you walk out and like there's a wall of just humidity and heat hitting you. It's just beautiful. And I agree. A café con leche comes in nice and handy at this point.
Handy. It's you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with a nice café con leche, nor can you go wrong with Today Mañana.
Absolutely.
We have some
especially on Thursday mornings.
Especially on Thursday mornings. And so we have some fantastic guests lined up for you this morning. It's going to be an amazing show. We're going to be joined very shortly by Dino, who's the owner of Dino's Wood-Fired Pizza and Grill, followed by Mary Tate Campbell, the owner of the Art of Storytelling. And then last but not least, Matt Harmon, the owner of Harmony Wine, and Stephen Davis, president of Community Investment Collaborative. So, I mean, three fantastic entrepreneurs, plus the president of an organization that supports entrepreneurs. I mean,
exactly.
Can you do any better than that?
And you said that's 10-year anniversary. I mean, he's done a great job for 10 years. I mean, how many people have we had on this show that went through his program? It's unbelievable.
CIC.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't even know about it. We just start chatting and they tell us. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah, how many times it's like, so what was it like taking the first step, to be an entrepreneur? And then said, well, I went to CIC. So, here you go. So no, it's a privilege to live in a place that we can have a great organization like that.
Exactly,
so,
absolutely.
A lot going on. Love being here on the I Love Seville Network set. Glad to be back.
Judah's back.
Judah is back. I am back.
I missed him last week. I missed Lisa a little more, but I didn't want to tell him that.
Don't tell him that. Johnny Ornelas, amigo del programa, says buenos días, jóvenes.
Buenos jóvenes.
So, buenos días, Johnny.
Me encanta, Johnny. Me encanta. Jóvenes.
You made it Xavier's day. You made it Xavier's day. A great friend of the program, a huge supporter and and really inspiration in the Latino community, the Latino business community, is Johnny Ornella. So,
absolutely.
So thank you for watching this morning. Samantha Strawn, thanks for watching the show this morning. So we got a lot to cover. Always appreciate being presented by Emergent Financial Services and partnering with our good friends at Aqua Seville Hand Car Wash, at the Jim Seville, at Castle Hill Cider, at Credit Serious Insurance, and of course we're always partnering with Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. So I don't know about you, but I say I'm excited enough to just jump right in here.
Well, anytime you talk about pizza, I mean, there's never a wrong time to eat pizza or talk about pizza, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. So we are very excited to welcome to the show Dino Hoja. He is the owner of Dino's Wood-Fired Pizza and Grill. Dino, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be with you guys. And
the honor's all ours.
Civil has been kind of part of growing my business, and all of you being as regular customers and being part of this community. Charlottesville is a place that I call home for 18 years now. I never lived anywhere longer than I lived in Charlottesville.
Wow, interesting.
But it's amazing. At first, I didn't like it at all because I came from a big city, Berlin, in Germany.
Okay.
And then when I moved here, it was like almost winter. But now I cannot change it with anything else in the world. I mean, this is my home to be. And the community is just, regardless where you go in the world, Charlottesville is unique, is true unique place to be.
I agree. So when you said you got here in winter?
Yeah,
because I mean, Berlin's winter's got to be pretty tough too.
They were tough, but I mean, when I came here, it was like, I mean, I didn't speak much of the English.
Okay, so it was a
and
combination.
it was a little rough at the beginning on, and new culture. I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, like, but like we just talked earlier, I don't know where the time went. Yeah, so time flies. We're working every day, but yeah, the day like today, especially in the fall season in Charlottesville, with the leaves turning and the air being so fresh, it's
pizza time, right?
Pizza time and café con leche.
There you
all the time.
There we go.
It's a new one. I mean, I usually have Coke or beer, but café con leche in the morning with a pizza.
There we go. So, Dino, tell us a little bit. I'm always curious. How did you first become interested in the culinary arts and cooking and making pizza? Tell us a little about your story.
I come from a background of bakers. My family has been baking probably from 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah, all my siblings and everybody in the region where I come from, that everybody deals with the kind of the baking industry all over the former Yugoslavia, and then like Balkans in general,
exactly.
and then also like now they're spreading all over Europe. But baking has been in kind of like my ancestries, in my blood too. And then I migrated to Germany, and then I thought I would leave it behind and try other trades. Didn't work out when I came to America, then started working in the restaurants because I never liked to wake up at 10 or 11 o'clock at night as a teenager and start making breads while everybody else was asleep.
That's true.
The baker's life is tough.
It certainly is.
Yeah, but then moved here and then worked in several restaurants, start making some stuff like bread, and the opportunity came along at the brick oven. So a friend of mine was the owner, Tony Farah, which is the owner of Michael's Diner now, and then I bought the brick oven from him.
Okay.
And then we started there in 2017. Yeah, and now we are at the dairy market since during the most devastating time that nobody can even I can imagine that we are still leaving that behind. I hope for good.
I hope so too. Yes.
But 2020, I was taking a delivery going to UVA for catering, and I think around late 2018 or 2019, that's when the dairy market was being built.
Exactly.
So I did some research and looked for it, and then it's fascinating that when you have sometimes gut feelings this, I will be here, and it's just all a matter of time. I start counting on that, and then dig some information, and then called Stony Point and asked them about the food hall, and they were very very into it. I told them our told them our concept we want to put there and everything. And Chris Henry and his team, and also Johnny and Jan, they're big shouts for them. They're the Thalheimers, leasing agents.
Right.
They were like, choose a spot. And then we just got in there around late of 2019, when then 2020 was that when everything started falling apart.
Right. I mean, talk about timing. It's not the greatest timing.
Not
at all,
really, but I mean, we moved forward. Even the construction was moving slower, and then we went to we had everything lined up for lending from the banks and everything, and then no bank went, especially to the hospitality industry when it was all the lockdown,
Sure.
and then then Chris Henry and his team believed in our concept and everything, and then we got some loan from them so we could move forward. And then I think it was December 15th when it first opened there. And since then we've been thriving there.
Yep.
And as you know, everybody else is open there, the dairy market is full of other entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
And, that it was not enough for us. We are expanding on another stall there with a homemade pastas, which is another venue that we calling it Basta Pasta.
Pasta.
Yeah, the Basta Pasta, in Latin or Italian or Spanish, Basta means enough. But we try to connect we have enough pasta for everyone. So so we are shooting to open that in the late of this month, or maybe beginning of next month.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Terrific.
so it's going to be right across from where we have the bowls and everything. But I cannot do this alone without my team. We have fascinating people working together, and I also my wife supported my kids, even though I work sometimes 16, 17 hours a day, and
I would
just
imagine.
go to sleep home. You just go to sleep and leave before they wake up and everything. But this is life. When I tell someone in America what we do is we work during the vacation to when we go on vacation we work. So.
How true that is sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition to the fact that cell phones have created the opportunity for people opportunity at the same time, it's a problem because you're on call all the time. So you go on vacation, you're still on call.
Well, you make yourself available, and then if you're workaholic, that you want to try to respond to everybody, then you're really, like you said, you're before, if they had only on the back old days, if they had your work number only,
Right.
and then nobody was there to answer it, and you go home, they could call and you never shared your home phone number or anything, and nobody could reach you. Now, you can be reached in the silent way.
24/7.
You could wake up in the morning, you receive emails at 1 a.m., somebody was awake on the other side of the world, and then they just send you the emails, and then you try to get connected. It becomes 24/7 work.
Absolutely.
It really does. Now, you have a lot of fans. Because I'm not going to be able to pronounce all the last names. So there's so many people liking the show today and watching. So just Amber Retzrode says, we love Dino. And then we got watching the show this morning, Flurim, Reshit, Vessel, Shadan, Josh, Nebi, Heme, Adra, Maridona, Enver, Hamdi, all these fantastic people liking, watching the show this morning. DT is liking the show this morning. Nicholas says, my wife and I have had Dino's calzones, pizza, and wings, and we've discovered that there's nothing there that isn't mind-bendingly delicious.
Well, I appreciate that, and then tell them they will be my guests next time they come in. Just to
thank
announce.
you.
You know what that means. All those people obviously love Dino's Pizza, right? Because if you didn't like Dino's Pizza, you like Dino, you might say, I don't know, do I really want to say anything?
Well,
but you can tell that they love you and they love the pizza too.
Well, the reason how we came up with Dino's, because when we took over the brick oven, we were the fourth owners in the brick oven. And then even the brick oven was there since early 90s. When we start hosting also a fascinating nonprofit group of the Synapse, which is Central Virginia, and then from Richmond based. They're great people. So we started hosting them and then have the meetings there. I became a member of the network, and then everybody would say go to Dino's, let's go to Dino's. And when we opened the place at the dairy market, my marketing partner, she's amazing, Britta Killer. I cannot thank her enough. She's amazing marketing that she behind all of their logos and everything. But I'm trying to like commercialize everybody here. I'm sorry, but I really all these people that was surrounded. They're amazing, amazing people. And then she said, like, why not call it Dino's? Because everybody who comes here, they say, like, let's go to Dino's. Nobody's mentioned the brick oven. And then that's how, like, we start, like, naming that. And everybody would say, like, are you going to call the pasta place Dino's too? I said, no, that's enough with Dino's. This is enough venue. So whatever we do in the future, this is going to stick only with, like, grill and pizza.
The grill and the pizza.
Not everything becomes like Dino's. We're not going to start labeling everything Dino's. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, so I'm curious because obviously, you came from a baking background, right? But did you ever make pizza? And then, of course, in the pizza world, it's not just the dough, but what you put on top of that dough, and all the different combinations you have are just unbelievable. So how do you come up with that?
Well, I mean, you just go with what is trending mostly, and then pizza. We sell, regardless what pizzas we do, with the hot honey now and balsamic glaze and all the other things, barbecue and everything. Pizza is more American than Italian. This is my opinion. I'm not Italian. People say, like, why do you have Italian restaurant and you are Albanian? I say, like, well, I think pizza is American. The way we make pizza. In Italy, they make pizza differently. So we call it pizza, true. But it's New York style pizza. And then pizza in America, every cuisine, I think, in America has kind of redefined and became kind of more American than the authentic cuisines being abroad. And then I'm not trying to steal it from Italians because they're very, very like into like the pizza is ours and nobody else. But in America, we make pizza differently.
We make
and
New
then
York pizza.
Yeah, the pepperoni and cheese just being traditional and margherita. These are the top selling across the board all over the country. Like pizza is pizza. You cannot like have only pizza if you don't have cheese or pepperoni on it. Yeah. But now with the dietary restriction, you have to like and then learning more about our diets and everything. So we try to like we cannot like punish only the gluten-free ones. We try to offer the gluten-free and then the vegans, and you have to kind of. I mean,
you try to make everybody happy.
You try to make it delicious. It's not.
You have to make everybody who thinks eating healthy, they think of the cardboard. But we have 20 years from now, probably it was like that, just plain and everything. But now, like everybody becomes like more meatless, and then there's so many other things available that they still taste very, very great.
Exactly.
But there's still our pizza. But if you were truly want to have a pizza, you got to have a cheese or a pepperoni pizza to have pizza.
I mean, I grew up in New York, right? And I grew up in the business world. But literally every once in a while on Fridays, it's like I got to go out. Right? So I go out and I walk around, and it's like I didn't know what to eat. And all of a sudden, boom, pizzeria. I walk in the pizzeria and I order 2 slices, usually plain, sometimes with pepperoni because I love pepperoni, 2 slices and a Coke. And it was just so enjoyable just to sit there and eat a pizza, right? Because it's one of those foods that you like, it's enjoyable, and no matter, I mean, it's rare to find a bad pizza in New York, right? And so it was just like, it's food for the soul. It just calm you down and you go back to work and then back to the stress.
The carb kicks in right away.
There you are. Maybe that's what it is.
So the pizza thing, in like 2 a.m. in New York City, for example, or like it became like a staple.
Yeah.
Or like you wake up, like you can just grab a pizza and then in the morning, I had cold pizzas in the morning for myself, for just have a small piece for breakfast or something. But it just becomes so staple item, and then that's why you call it. Even though if you like go to the leasing companies and everything, if you look at the type of cuisines you have. If you say Italian, so Italian restaurant, so you're not excluded, or somebody else is going to come with pizza because pizza is listed as American.
It's
you say pizza separately. Business, yeah. So I mean, like I said, I mean, pizza is something that has conquered the world, and pizza is something that you share. It's not only one person, so you grab it and then everybody gets a piece.
Yep.
True. So I mean, there's a human nature when we share things, we just become when we're more kind of close to each other and everything. Yeah.
The one thing I love about your pizza is that the crust. I love when the crust is so important because there's nothing worse than a soggy pizza. I have to admit, a soggy pizza, and I've had them. So
our dough is very simple, and then we just it's semolina, regular flour, salt, water, and yeast.
Yeah.
And we put pinch of olive oil. We don't put all that crazy additives or something like that to make it this and that. So, and then the grease part about it, the more you put greasy, and then it probably tastes better and everything. But then, I mean, the calories you can pack in and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, our dough is just like they say in all the culinary. The bacon is, cooking is art, but baking is science. Mm-hmm. So every day you make the dough, and you have to check the humidity, and then we don't change hands. We have only one person making the dough all the time, every day. Mm-hmm. So it has to be always, even though the proportion of flour and water and all the ingredients go in have to be the same, but sometimes the moist in the air and everything, it can affect everything. And how long it stays outside and everything. So you kind of constantly monitor it. And when it becomes part of you, look like connected. You become. I tell people who I train that, you know what? Have you watched the Avatar movie? They say just to explain to them, they say yes. Have you seen that the actor, when he attached himself to the creature and it becomes one? Mm-hmm. In order to become a good pizza man, you have to have that connection.
You have to become one with the pizza.
So you have to have the connection with the dough to become part. Yeah. So you try to put it in the funny way sometimes in imagination. But in every industry, if you like what you do and you are a people's person, especially on the food industry, that food is something that you have all kind of waves of walks of life walking in. Yep. There are people who are very hungry and they're don't have patience, and then you just have to handle every person individually on that case. Mm-hmm. We have our neighbors move through that people wait 40 minutes for the ice cream, which is the best ice cream you can have. But if we tell someone you're going to wait 40 minutes for a pizza, they're going to have a fit. Because the pizza, they want to fill out their stomach to eat. So because they're hungry, but the ice cream, they're already full with pizza. So they have to wait. So I'm going to ask Ken to give us some commission because our team has to work so hard to make sure that nobody wastes more than 15 minutes. But on their line, their customers waiting. If you tell somebody it's going to be half an hour, especially on a busy day or something, they give you that evil look, like you feel like they want to attack you. But most of the people are very, very nice. I mean, our customers in general is just absolutely amazing, and we are growing every month and week by week, month by month, and with all partners there, and it's amazing to work over there with all the students, especially they come. I mean, they are bread and butter of this town, especially the restaurants. Yeah. Without of UVA, this town would have been totally different. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So Maridona says, "We love you, Dina."
She's my niece, yet. Love her back.
And Maito Buzinski, thanks for watching the show this morning. He has an age-old question for you.
All right, let's do it.
A classic pizza question, which is pineapple on pizza.
Like I just said earlier, we are in America. Italians will probably try to put you in trial for that, and you might have to go to maybe highest court in Europe if you do that. But in America, you're a pro-consumer, and then pineapple. It's fascinating also because in East Europe, Baltic states, I read something about it that imagine how cold is there. Mm-hmm. And in Estonia, Lithuania, and all this thing, what is the most popular pizza? It's Hawaiian pizza.
Wow.
Ham and pineapple. Would you imagine saying, okay, you would say somewhere in Hawaii or down in Florida or Caribbean, mm-hmm. because pineapple is
that's where it grows.
Stable item.
Exactly.
But you say in the Baltic states of Europe having one of the most popular pizza being Hawaiian pizza.
Hawaiian pizza.
So I would say I tried it several times. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that, but people love it, and we just have to make
Absolutely.
it.
No, that's my thoughts. Is that I think partly it's is it so cold that you want to imagine you're in Hawaii.
They're in the Caribbean.
If I eat the Hawaiian pizza, I'll feel
I have a pineapple. I'm just close your eyes, and you're already telereported in Hawaii right now.
Exactly. I did want to ask. So the transition, what goes into your mind when you said, because you started with the pizza, and now you have the wings, which are just incredible. How do you sort of decide, all right, I'm going to add something like wings to the menu?
Well, when you are in the industry, you just do like what is the most popular. Wings have been also like, they're like restaurants or chains, they're just, all they do is wings. Same thing, and like I don't think anybody else in the world eats more wings and pizza than America.
Probably.
We are food people. We love food in America, and then that's what is it? I love food myself. I cannot just, even though my doctor is warning me, you're almost pre-diabetic, I just say like, if you take away my cheese and my carbs, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have any other things going, I just work all the time. If you take these things away from me, then what I'm going to do? But I mean, making the healthy options is fine. But wings, we being in the culinary industry and the cooking, I worked for Whole Foods for several years, and then also being a small entrepreneur. Regardless how healthy the cuisine and the Whole Foods has transformed the whole eating habits in the grocery stores, being the first organic chain to introduce organic food more to the population in America. When we will make fried chicken, and we will make wings, or we will make things that are like soul food kind of very comfort food, we will sell more than anything else.
Absolutely.
So having wings paired with pizza, it's just like
perfect.
Beer and pizza is I say the perfect marriage. But when you throw wings there is solid marriage there. That's not going to go anywhere.
It's like bringing in the children, but they're a good family.
Yeah. But the wings are part of the every pizzeria now. And then our wings, what we do is we always buy fresh, even though the wings have been skyrocketing. I mean, the inflation has hit us this year, but I mean, a couple of years before, or 2019 and after, the wings have been going like crazy. And the other part of the chicken were cheaper, and we will say are they having chickens with no wings, or what's going on? So because other parts of chicken, like chicken breasts and thighs, and other parts of chicken were kind of still staying on a lower cost. But the other part now is right now the breasts and thighs have gone to skyrocketing, and the wings have come down so much because everybody started taking them out of the menu, and we just have increased the price. And in order to maintain the price you put in the market, you have to make sure you have a good product. And we always got the fresh local wings, and then we marinate them and we bake them in the brick oven, and we try to keep them. And whoever has tried our wings, they really would have loved them.
Oh, they're
and then you guys are.
We're big fans.
The story behind it, and then, we'll name a wing after you guys. And the sauce. You just have to find some Cuban sauce or something.
There you go, the Cuban wings.
Cuban wings.
Yeah. Well, Dino, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before we let you go, last question: where can people? Well, at Dairy Market, but if people want to find you online, where can people?
Well, now it's just being on your show and on Jerry's show, you just Google my name now, you find it everywhere. You guys have conquered the digital world in Charlottesville.
It's true. Yeah, if you type Dino's Pizza in Google, the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, when you type Dino's Pizza, you just see my picture in the Jerry Miller show all the time, and people just find it. You will find me. Right now, we are working to do the pizza. Pasta and place, and I'm just walking back and forth, going to the county, and then doing other things behind the scene and everything. I'm less there, but you will find me 7 days a week at the Dairy Market.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm still.
You're there.
My wife is not divorcing me yet, I hope, but I'm not gonna marry with the Dairy Market. So.
But she don't even know about it. You're too busy.
Yeah, I'm there all the time, and then Dairy Market is a second home, or we just go and sleep at home. But it was a pleasure to be here with you guys. And
thank you for coming.
This show is always been saying, it's amazing that it's so organic, and then having all entrepreneurs have their voice being showcased and heard here in your show, and people look for it. It's amazing, and we'll be more than happy to be there here as many times as we can.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it.
It's been fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. All right, so we'll go ahead and
rotate. So think about it. You got pizza, and then you're gonna have pasta.
Yep.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
I know.
Right?
Not.
I mean,
Nicholas says worth the trip. Let's see. I think Our friend, where is he? Michael says Dino for president. And Betkim says, one day I'm going to come down from Philadelphia to get some Dino's Delicious Pizza, the best pizza man in Europe and now in America. So there we go.
Absolutely. Take care.
So from one fantastic entrepreneur to another.
Absolutely.
We are really excited to welcome to the show this morning Mary Kate Campbell. She is the owner of The Art of Storytelling. Mary Kate, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
And it goes well, right? Because think about it. You had Dino telling a story, right? And here is somebody that helps somebody, because not everybody is as creative sometimes in telling their own story or being able to explain what they do quickly but with some vibrancy, right? And so I think that's what Mary Kay brings to the table.
Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you and how you started The Art of Storytelling.
So I've been in strategic marketing and communications for more than 25 years, and I love connecting with people and I love telling stories. And so it's a little bit of a long story, but I started the Heart of Storytelling because I really wanted to get back to my roots of telling stories and really connecting with people. So like many people, when you are in a profession, you continue to work your way up, and as you work your way up, you sometimes get further and further away from the things that you love. And so as I moved into executive positions and leadership positions, I found myself doing more strategy, more management, budgets, things like that. And while I got to do a little bit of storytelling and really interacting with individuals, I didn't get to do it as much as I liked. And so it was something that, was continuing in the back of my mind, but I have been a single mom since my kids were 2 and 5. They're now 17 and 20. So I've been a single mom for a long time. And what that means is that, all of the responsibility fell on me. And because of that, I continued to pursue more advanced positions that allowed me to do more things with my children and for my children. In February of 2021, so at the peak of COVID, it was fabulous, I was in a very bad car accident. And I was driving south on 29 in Amherst County, going the speed limit, which was 60 miles an hour. I had my cruise control on, the radio wasn't on, my cell phone was next to me, face down charging, looking at the sky. I mean, it was just a beautiful evening, and a man pulled directly in front of me from a side road.
Wow.
Yeah, and I couldn't slow down, let alone stop. Yeah. So, I laid on the horn, I slammed on my brakes, I swerved to try to miss him, and I hit the bed of his truck, and I rolled 360 and spun around 180.
Holy cow.
And in the course of that, sometimes you think you don't remember it, but I remember every moment of it. I remember that sinking feeling of, oh my gosh, this is not going to be a near miss. I remember the impact. I remember my airbag just whooshing down my face, my world spinning, my window being gone and cold air coming in. I mean, it is a like out of body kind of experience when this happens. And so it was February, so the soft top of my car was closed, but it is a soft top convertible, it was. Ooh. And so when I rolled, my head either hit the roll bar or it hit the asphalt. I don't know which, but my head was split open from the front to the back.
Holy cow.
And I had 17 stitches and staples put in my head. And what happened was I was sitting in that ambulance, and I've never been in an ambulance before. It's a different kind of experience. There's bright fluorescent lights, and blood was dripping down my face, and I know that I was in shock. I was shaking, and you feel your adrenaline pumping, and the paramedics and EMTs kept checking the spot on the back of my head, and it's because my tissue was protruding, and they didn't know if it was my brain.
Oh, man.
And so when you have a life-altering experience like that, you stop,
and kind of
right?
Re-examine.
Yeah. You do. You take stock of your life. And in that moment, I thought, I'm not doing what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
I'm not doing what I love. And so I ended up being on long-term disability for about 1.5 years. I had a traumatic brain injury, is what it's called, a TBI. And during the course of that 1.5 years, I started the Heart of Storytelling. And it's interesting because I know that by doing that, I healed my brain.
Okay.
You know, you challenge yourself. You have daily goals. You have things that you're working towards, and it creates new neural pathways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a muscle like anything else.
Absolutely.
The only way to strengthen and to do it is to use it.
Right. And, you know, I mean, there are moments when I lose my place in a conversation, or I used to have an extremely robust vocabulary, and I'm getting it back, but there are moments that are just completely gone. People will say something, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember that, you know? And what it does is it teaches you a whole lot of patience and grace and humility. And so the heart of storytelling has been just a great way of connecting with people and telling stories and utilizing my more than 25 years of experience as a writer. I have 2 degrees in journalism. I taught public speaking at NC State University. So, you know, utilizing all of this experience and helping local businesses and business. Actually, I've worked with people internationally, you know, working with people to really hone their strategic communication skills. And so it's been incredible. It really has.
That's fantastic. So when someone reaches out to you, what's kind of the process? All right, you know, Mary Kay, I don't know how to tell my story.
Right.
What's the process by which you start to work with them and so forth?
You know, it really depends on my client. I've had clients where I've done trainings for their executive team. I've done writing for newsletter articles. I've done things for the foundation at UVA Health Foundation, writing articles for their cancer publications. So really, it's just a matter of sitting down and talking with the clients. And what's unique, I think, for me is that because I have all these years of the strategic communication piece of it, not just the copywriting, I bring in all of that strategic aspect. So I'm not going to just write something that you tell me to write. I'm going to sit down and talk to you about who your target audience is and what you're trying to accomplish and what your main objectives are and your, you know, all of those things, and really hone in on who you are as an organization and how I can help you to convey that story. And many of my clients are highly technical or healthcare or things that are sometimes difficult to communicate in a heartwarming way. And that's what storytelling is all about. You know, there's all kinds of research that talks about when you hear stories, there's something called neural coupling. And your breathing and your heart rate matches those of the speaker. It's fascinating, right? You're sitting there, you're listening, and all of a sudden your breathing and your heart rate is the same as the person that you're listening to.
I didn't know that.
Right? I know. It's so cool. It also releases dopamine and oxytocin and all these different things that like are feel-good hormones, right? So it literally changes your brain chemistry when you hear a good story. And it embeds it in your memory longer and deeper. So you're going to remember it more. So if you have something that's a highly technical thing, you are awesome at the technical piece. But finding a way of what I call warming your brand, of helping people to connect on an emotional level, that's where I come in, because I can sit down and talk with you and find out those things, and then I can tell those stories for you. So it's such a privilege. It really is. I love talking to people. I love hearing what they're doing.
And it's true. I mean, one of the things that is very difficult for, you know, when you are a listener, right? Especially when it comes to sciences, because some of the terminology is like, it's over your head. You never heard of it. So it's the first time you hear the word. You're trying to figure out what that word means. They're telling you. But then, I mean, within, at least for me, within like 20 seconds, like, what was that word again? I mean, you know you're going to forget it, but you're right. If there's a story behind it, at least you now have an idea as to what that was, and maybe that word will pop back in your head, right?
Yes. And, you know, honestly, remembering the word or the technical term is probably not the most important part. What is most important is that you remember who it is that's doing it.
Right.
So, you know, so from a branding perspective. But also why it's important. So why is it important to that business? Why is it important to me, and how does it relate to my life? And, you know, it's just like, I don't need to know how to do my taxes. I have an accountant that does them. But I have a relationship with my accountant, and my accountant knows what my personal story is.
Right.
So that's why I use that accountant over somebody else, right? It's creating that I have a relationship with you. And by the way, what I'm doing is going to have an impact on your life in some form or fashion. And it could just be that the research that I'm doing is going to lead to something that you're dealing with right now. or a family member is dealing with it, and I found a way to help that.
Exactly, exactly. And so I'm curious because, I mean, unfortunately, we live in a world where, anything more than 2 sentences, people go, oof, I got to read this, right? And so how do you work in that environment where people are, they're looking at text, or they're looking at Instagram, or they're looking at things where, like I said, I mean, it's like I only want to read 2 sentences scrolling. And that's it, right? So how do you work with that?
I have to say, I went to graduate school at UNC Chapel Hill, which is one of the top 3 journalism programs in the country. And when you're doing rigorous assignments, they are honing in on a very strong lead, which is answering who, what, where, when, why, and how in a single declarative statement. Now, it is extremely difficult to answer all of those questions in one sentence. And so I think that a lot of my training through school and all of my years of experience have allowed me to speak very succinctly and get to the heart of information. And the other thing is, what are the pain points for the people who you are trying to attract? In other words, what are the reasons why they're frustrated or they're having difficulty, or what are their needs? And when you can address those immediately, then you can start to get more information. You're right, you have like 3 to 6 seconds to get someone's attention. So you better have a strong lead. You better have something that's going to catch their attention, and you need to immediately address what's going on and how you uniquely can solve their problem.
Okay.
So that is what, once you reach into that point and say, all right, I'm here, I can solve your problem, then maybe they begin to pay more attention and say, all right, how can you solve my problem? Whereas if you start off at the beginning, well, people who have this problem, I can do this, they're gone. They've zoned out already. As opposed to saying, all right, this person I think can help me. Maybe I should see what they do.
And in journalism, it's called the inverted pyramid. So you start with a really strong lead, and it's opposite of everything we've ever learned in academia, which is you don't start with the background information. You start with the most essential information, and there's a couple reasons. One, it's the attention span that you were referring to.
Right.
2, it's addressing their issue right away. But the real reason behind all of it is that in the old days, when we had newspapers, I had those, so I'm old enough to remember them.
Me too.
Right, exactly. Editors would cut from the bottom of a story. So sometimes just before it went to press, there was a breaking story, and they had to cut yours down from so many column inches to something else. And editors and journalists knew that the least essential information is at the bottom, so that if an editor had to cut, they would just cut from the bottom, and they know that they weren't going to ruin the essence of the story. And that's what's the inverted pyramid.
Okay.
So you put the essential background, you put the essential information first and the background information at the bottom, hoping that they'll get to it. But if they don't, they still know when your event is, how much it costs, where you go, all of the essential information.
That's fascinating. Yeah, which makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
How you would then translate that to business. Does that kind of the same thing? If you only have so much time to talk to someone and convince them why what you're providing is worthwhile, it can't be at the end. It can't be, let me tell you the whole story, and then, by the way, this is why it's worthwhile.
And so many, it's what we've been trained in, and so many people think, oh, well, I got to give them background why I started this and what I did, and there's a place for that for sure. And I'm talking about hard news, which is specific events coming up, versus evergreen stories that are more features. I personally love features because it allows you to tell the story, but you still have to get everybody's attention when you start.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it reminds me a little bit of what we do, because we're financial advisors. But a lot of times people come in, and my first feeling is, so tell us why you're here. In other words, how can we help you, right? I don't go in and tell them everything about us, because first of all, my assumption is they know something, else they wouldn't even be in our office. But the important thing is, how can we help you? In other words, what brings you here to see exactly what goals or needs you have, and then, as you said, then you go and approach that problem.
Right. It's all about them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can remember that, it's all about them.
Absolutely, and it is.
It really helps you.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, I'm curious, what was the jump? The audience always loves to know the entrepreneurship part of the story. What was kind of the jump for you? What was it like to jump from that world into the entrepreneurship world? Like, now you are your own boss. You own your own business.
Yeah. I think some of it was because I was on long-term disability, I had more flexibility than I'd had before. So I was getting that income, and it gave me the space and time to do it, which is a blessing for sure. But it was also really, for years, y'all, I had been called to do this. And it was one of those things that I just kept saying, no, I can't do this. I can't do this right now. And another part of what I do is a program called Queens of Moxie. And it is inspirational speaking, a weekly inspirational email, and a podcast every Friday. And it is geared specifically towards women who are going through a personal transition. And it is intended to help them reclaim their power, reclaim their moxie. And it is a passion project for sure, but it is something that's so important to me because I think so often women are focused on everybody else and pouring into everybody else's cups, and they forget to sharpen their own saws, so to speak. And at least for me, I hit 50 this year. I had this traumatic car accident. I mean, there were all these things pointing to me. My mom passed away in February. Thank you. All of those things that women in my age group tend to have. My son is in college. My youngest is a senior. I'm going to be an empty nester soon. All of a sudden, women in my age group particularly find themselves going, well, how do I define myself now? What does this mean? What do I do? And so it started with the Heart of Storytelling, and the Queens of Moxie is a program that's developed out of it, and it's so enriching and fulfilling for me, and I get such positive feedback from others. So it's all of the above.
That's fabulous, yeah. And I can see that happening because it's true. I mean, one thing about motherhood sometimes is that you pour everything into your whole family, everything that you do. And then all of a sudden, I mean, like you said, the kids grow up, everybody's out of the house, and you're by yourself, and you go, I mean, never thought about yourself. What now?
Right. And I absolutely think that men can listen to it and enjoy it as well. Each podcast is about 35 minutes, so it's intended to be something that you listen to on your way to work or when you're working out, or, it's not meant to be a really long thing. It's supposed to start your day off right. And, I mean, I have everybody from one woman who started, during the pandemic, her and her husband decided, their kids were out of the house, they decided, you know what, we're going to sell everything and we're going to live the RV life. That's what they did. Wow. I mean, how many of us want to live vicariously through it, right? I mean, that's so cool. Not something I could do, I don't think. Who knows?
But the idea of it.
But the idea of it, right? I mean, it's so cool. So there are all kinds of people who are on the show who are just inspiring for everyone. My audience is focused on women, but truly, I think everyone can benefit from listening to it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Very inspiring.
I appreciate that. And so this has been an absolute pleasure, I have to say. This has been, I feel like I've learned so much as well. I've just been inspired myself by listening to your story. So, I mean, before we let you go, where can people find you? Where can people get in touch and reach out?
Yeah. There's really two, so it's kind of hard because it's a call to action with two things. But
absolutely.
theheartofstorytelling.net. .com wasn't available. So .net, Heart of Storytelling. And then Queens of Moxie, the podcast, there's a website for it as well. But you can find the podcast on Audible, Spotify, Google, Apple, Wisdom. I think that's it. I don't know. So you can Google Queens of Moxie.
Pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts,
pretty much,
probably there.
Yes, exactly, which has been delightful. I mean, I had no idea it was on Audible, and someone said, "Oh, I found you on Audible." I was like, awesome! That's great. So it's been great. So either of those, queensofmoxie.com or heartofstorytelling.net.
Heartofstorytelling.net.
Yes.
Mary Kay, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you so much.
Thank
it's
you.
very,
You guys
like
are
I said,
great.
very inspiring,
thank you.
beautiful stories.
You are as well. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And as we wrote to, do not forget heartofstorytelling.net, queensofmoxie.com. And we still got people watching the show this morning. Brian, thank you for watching the show this morning. Ramona, thank you for watching the show this morning. Katrina, thank you for watching the show this morning. We are just, the audience is loving it. So, and from one, and just really love
this has been
the inspiration of.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great story. We talk about storytelling. Those are great stories.
Exactly.
So,
and just
fabulous.
Entrepreneurs just really, they make our community run. People like Mary Kay that just They inspire us. They give back. They assist. They serve. Yeah. And it's just beautiful to see.
Well, I said it a million times, right? The small business of this country is the backbone of this country, and it's because of the people, right, that run the businesses.
Exactly.
Because of their passion, and the heart goes out into their product, and you can see it.
Absolutely. And so, here we've got two other fantastic guests lined up. Speaking of entrepreneurship, we're really excited to welcome to the show. Right next to me here is Matt Harmon. He's the owner of Harmony Wine, and Stephen Davis. He's the president of the Community Investment Collaborative, CIC. Stephen, Matt, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Good
morning.
Great
to be here. Now, we're glad to have you both on. So, for those who don't know you, give you a set to just introduce yourselves and a little bit about what you do. I know, Matt, you're a fantastic entrepreneur in our community. Stephen, an organization that works with entrepreneurs that I'm lucky enough to be on the board of directors of. So just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your organization.
Yeah, definitely. So Matt Harmon, I started Harmony Wine during the pandemic after I was laid off. And so Harmony Wine was inspired by me working with my dad, learning how to cook. And from that, I fell in love with the process of trying to pair my foods with the wine, going to wineries, going to wine bars, and wanted to create more of a space for wine to be more approachable, more acceptable, and really make it so that wine is something that I think should be enjoyed by everybody, and creating a space for people who look like me, and kind of taking it away from the winery, but not excluding the winery experience as well.
Oh, I love that. As people who drink wine and enjoy it, I love that idea that it doesn't have to be this kind of, only fancy or really wealthy people drink wine because you have to sniff it and do all these things, that you can actually just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
For what it brings. And Stephen, how about yourself?
Sure. Stephen Davis with the Community Investment Collaborative, or CIC. We help under-resourced entrepreneurs start and grow businesses. We run a 16-week entrepreneur workshop. We offer mentoring. We host the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, which provides free one-on-one business advising and counseling, and also offer microloans up to $50,000, among lots of other smaller things that CIC has done over the years.
Absolutely. So, Matt, what are some of the resources that you kind of access at CIC, and what have they sort of led to in terms of what services are available, like what subscriptions I know you've got some great subscriptions there, and the pricing and things like that, and the products that you have. How did it sort of connect?
Yeah, so I went through the program of spring of 2021. So it was virtual, but the learning that I received was great for me. I had started my business in December of 2020, so right out the gate, I was getting kind of the ropes, which was good. They have this class at 16 weeks, so in that class, we break into groups, and so you're working with other people who are also trying to build their business. So there's a lot of learning, not only from the courses that they're giving you, whether it's teaching you about some of the laws and taxes and all the other red tape that comes along with it, running a business. But also you get to connect with people who are in the community who are doing trying to find the same goal as you of boosting their business, and through that, you are able to talk to people who may be going through the same things that you are, and some of the hiccups and victories that you have along the way. So I think what was beneficial for me was definitely learning about, they have a break-even process where you're learning from what your initial cost is down to the nitty-gritty of how much you need to sell if you want to make a certain amount of money. That was huge for me. In wine, I took on a tall task jumping into the wine industry. I have a passion for it, so that helps. But being able to have that and being able to go in and use their resources and talk to the people who are working there as far as, all right, this is what I want to do. What does it look like? Then being able to have an outreach into the community and say, well, we may not be able to help you with this specifically, but this person does, and they used to be in the program, or they have an affiliation with CIC. So that was really huge for me.
A lot of fantastic connections. And what are some of tell us a little bit about what came out of that, like the subscriptions you have, the products you have.
Yeah. So from that, I was able to really hone in and focus on what I wanted my business to be. My mission statement is for Harmony is however you drink in harmony. So
I like that.
It actually came to me during the class, but from that I was able to really pinpoint, all right, what is the needs of my customers? Who do my customers look like? How can I provide the best service for them? And get price points on where I want my business to be moving in the future, and those classes and breaking down what taxes look like and how I can approach my customers for subscriptions and how I can make it enticing for them and also beneficial to me.
Yeah,
I'm just, if you don't mind, I'm curious. I mean, I keep looking at those two cans. Could you tell me what are they different flavors?
It's a new product.
Yeah, so this is a new product. So this is canned rosé.
So just hold it up there because we've got the little, there you go.
There you are.
Yeah, so canned rosé, I, through doing research and learning about what my industry was, something that CIC taught me, I saw that the canning industry had really taken off and wine was kind of being left behind. And I know a lot of people, when they hear of canned wine, they're usually thinking of the stuff that they're walking down the Walmart aisle and they're like, yeah, I'm not even looking over there. But my goal was to take wine that was good and put it into a can that makes it much more approachable. So this wine actually was imported from France. I worked with a winery in Loudoun County, and they added their own rosé. So it's a French and Virginia rosé in a can. And
interesting.
Yeah.
So they're both rosés.
They're both rosés.
But the white one is from France, and the pink one.
They're both. It is the exact same wine. So it's the exact same wine, and what it is that I decided for marketing reasons, it might be cool to have one white, one pink, in the 4-packs that they come in. So.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So each one has a mix. Like a blend of a French wine
and a Virginia wine.
Oh, wow.
That is neat.
That is neat. That is. Yeah, and it's true. And it's like, you can walk around with that in the street. Nobody even knows you're drinking wine. Right?
That's fantastic. we got a
special delivery.
A bottle here too, a special.
Yeah.
So is it?
So this one actually was one of my first wines. Was one of the first wines that I did, and it's actually from Texas, and so it's a sparkling Gewürztraminer.
Sparkling Gewürztraminer. I like that.
Yeah. So this was like one of the first wines I did when I first started out, right as I had started CIC. So it's one of my babies.
That's fantastic.
Sitting on the shelf at the I Love Seville studio.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. He's like, I finally get to meet the man who invented this. So and so many people over the years just so many entrepreneurs that have come on the show have talked about how amazing it is to having gone through CIC and how much it just the different resources that they were able to access by doing that. And it's been 10 years now since CIC started. Right. And in fact, there is an anniversary event happening. The CIC, it's Annie plus Union, but it's like anniversary and alumni reunion combined in one. That's going to be taking place Saturday, November 5th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Itch Art Park. So Stephen, tell us a little bit about what are some of the things. I know there's going to be some great food, some great drinks. What are some of the things people can look forward to if they attend?
Sure, yeah, no, it's a great event. We're looking to bring, we haven't, because of COVID as well, we haven't been able to do our annual entrepreneur reunion holiday party that we often have done towards the end of every year. And so we wanted to bring that back, but also it's, 10 years ago, CIC opened. Our first workshop was in the summer of 2012.
Wow.
And so we wanted to celebrate 10 years. Nearly, when this workshop that's going on right now finishes, we'll have 500 graduates of the 16-week workshop, and we want to celebrate that and bring folks back together and reconnect. So, as Alex mentioned, out on November 5th at the X Art Park under a tent. We'll be under a tent, so it is November, but it will also...
We will be nice and warm.
We'll be nice and warm under a tent. It'll having anniversary event, kind of reconnect, bring together not just entrepreneurs been through the program, but supporters and volunteers and the larger community, because that is at the core of CIC. It's about the whole community getting behind these initiatives to help businesses start, whether it's Matt and Harmony Wine, Mary Kay, who just has been through our program as well, and every individual who's come into our network not only has benefited from it, but everyone has brought so much to the network and helping each other and helping others. We're stronger because of all of that, and we want to bring them together. So we'll have, 4 or 5 of caterers and food businesses that have been through our program. There'll be Harmony Wine at the bar.
Oh, that's where you'll find me. That's where you will find me.
And just be a good opportunity, to reconnect. We wanted to do it. Ix is a great partner, the art park, in doing it. We're excited to do it there because not only is it a great community space, but also it is allows us to showcase caterers. Doing it, we have a lot of great hotels and venues in the region, but many of them have restrictions on who you can use for food, and we really wanted to support the many food entrepreneurs who've been through our program and the growing number of beverage ones as well.
Which is fantastic. I mean, that's what's one of the beauties of this event. You go there, it's not just one caterer. Like, you're going to be able to try some of the fantastic food that has come, fantastic hospitality businesses that have grown through CIC, fantastic beverages businesses that have grown through CIC. So it's just a great way, especially if you haven't had a chance to try some of them yet, to be like, all right, you're going to find, you and I are going to be at like every different food station. and even if we have tried them all before, we'll be like, no, let's try it again.
Well, we are foodies and we do like wine. I mean, I think everybody knows that now. They knew it before, but now we just kind of highlight it. But it's interesting. We were talking about that, Stephen, before. How many times we have entrepreneurs here, we have no idea they've gone through the CIC, and then as we're chatting, right, Alex will say something, says, oh yeah, we went through CIC, and you could just see how much they actually, how much that program helped them. Because we always say, I always feel this way, most entrepreneurs, one or the other side of their brain is like, marketing wise, they've got it all down, but on the other side, it's like, oh man, I got to look at financials, I got to look at taxes. What does that all mean? I just want to sell this stuff. Yeah, but you got to sell at the right price, otherwise you're not going to make any money, right?
I joke in our workshop, on the far extreme, most people are in the middle somewhere, but on the far extremes, we have one side of someone who's found a great product, but every time they sell it, they lose $1 because they haven't figured out how to sell it profitably. They need to raise their price. They need to do it more efficiently. On the other side of the room, you have some folks who've figured out how to make money, but they're scared to death of selling. The marketing and getting out there and really, kind of selling their product and themselves, because so many of the businesses we support, the owner, Harmony Wine is in the product, and so they have to get out and do it. So that mix, and they really learn so much from each other in that process and build confidence and support for doing all the things that's necessary to run a business.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is just the fact that there were others, right, that are in the same boat, right? They feed off each other, and it's like, oh yeah, actually I went through that before, and here's what I did. It's like, oh gee, good, I could have never thought of that. So I think all of that just brings so much to somebody new, somebody who has a new business. I think it's a fantastic. You've done a great job, really have.
Absolutely. So question for both of you here, as you think about, CIC's impact over the last 10 years or over your time as an entrepreneur going through the program, what's the first thing that comes to mind that you're going to be celebrating on November 5th?
I would have to say the networking. I think the networking is huge. Working with a bunch of people in the area who are also doing, events and stuff like that, and finding out, oh yeah, I went through CIC too. And they kind of get it and they understand the process that you're going through. I think that's been huge.
Yeah. What about you,
Steve? I think the community, network community, I think is at the heart of it. It's rewarding. Alex, you've been a supporter, for a number of years, and as we go around the community, you see more and more folks who have businesses. We have stickers that I am local business or I support local business, and seeing those on someone's Square reader or on the front of their store is incredibly rewarding. But it is those people that have connected to each other over time. There's so many folks, even going back to our earliest classes, who made a strong connection that was either personal friend now or business partner. One or two significant others along the way as well. So just so many connections that are made, and that's at the heart of what we're doing. It's making the community stronger because people from different parts of the community are connecting. They're working together. They're kind of finding opportunities to build great things for the community together. And then we can, they do the work. We talk about how many, folks who've been through our program have started businesses. CIC didn't start those businesses. Matt Harmon, started one of those businesses. Each of those, they did the work. We just, opened a few doors, helped, kind of open eyes to a few things that you might not have been aware of. In some cases, provided the capital to help people go from step A to step B to step C, and that's really what is at the core, of CIC.
Absolutely. So Matt, where can people find Harmony Wines, and B, what are some of the I know you have these products. Tell us a little bit about how the subscription works.
Yeah, so you can find Harmony Wine at tasteofharmony.com. That's tasteofharmony.com. And so the way the subscription works is each month there are 2 different subscriptions. So the way the first one works is you will get 2 wines that are the wines of the month. And this month, the 2 wines are Golden Bubbles and Merlot. So those are the 2 wines for this month. And then there's another one where you get 3 wines, and then you get to add on, if you'd like, a 4-pack of the canned rosés. And so that one, you get the 2 wines for the month, plus your choice of any of the wines that are available at the time.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that really does.
Fantastic. So tasteofharmony.com.
Yep.
I think people still owe, maybe an engagement gift for Alex or something.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If you're watching the show and you're very excited that I'm engaged, it's a perfect gift right there.
I like that idea too. I might could share that.
There you go. If you get 2 subscriptions, I'll give one to Xavier. And Stephen, for people who would love to come, which I know our audience, you should be going to this event on November 5th. For people who would love to come, where can they get tickets?
Yeah, so on our website, cicville.org, there should be a button right on the front page, but if you need the direct link, cicville.org/CIC10,
super easy.
And the event CIC10, that's the name for the event. You can get them there, we're anytime in the next few weeks. We're hoping to have a good crowd, 250 or 300 people, and would love to see community members. I meet folks all the time who are involved. I've been with CIC for 9.5 of these 10 years, and folks who are involved even in those first 6 months who reconnect and so forth. And so, even if you're a volunteer from our very first workshop or remember the community conversations, there's, 4 dozen or so people worked for about a year to launch CIC. If you're a part of those, come reconnect with us and see the fruit of your labors 10 years ago.
Absolutely. I would really, really encourage people to check out cicville.org/CIC10, because it's going to be an amazing event, and it's just an enormous way to support and connect. Like, you will benefit as much
Absolutely.
as...
Yeah, it's a great, like they said, it's a great
to
networking event
support
too.
CIC and be connected with CIC, you just learn so much, and you will benefit as much as you benefit the organization and the entrepreneurs there. Yeah. So I would really encourage that. I would really encourage you to do a tasteofharmony.com and try what looks like some amazing one. I am ready to go myself.
It's almost noon, right? It's almost noon.
It's almost noon. Yeah. Exactly. And I have to say, just last thing, rosé all day is a fantastic hat. Yeah. I love that hat as well.
It's funny. Someone during 2020 COVID, they let the license drop for rosé all day. So Harmony Wine picked that up, which was fantastic. But yeah.
That is fantastic. So thank you for coming on, Matt.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Stephen, for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
It's been fantastic to have you both.
Yes.
This has been a fantastic...
I'm looking forward to
that
bubbly
you are. I know you are.
Wow.
I know you
Never had that.
So it's been a fantastic show today.
It really has.
Really, thank you so much for everyone who came on. Be sure to check out Dino's Wood-Fired Pizza and Grill at the Dairy Market, Mary Kay at the Art of Storytelling, Matt at Harmony Wine, and be sure to check out cicville.org/CIC10. And just thank you for hosting with me today.
It's fun.
Always a pleasure. We've got next week, we'll be on Nicholas Erpe from Emergent Financial Services, as well as Greer Kelly from Friends of Seville will be joining us. Just really appreciate being here on the I Love Seville Network set. Thank you, Judah, behind the camera, making this all work. I know we had 3 segments today, so
nice to have
he
you
works
back,
his
Judah.
magic. So we are glad he's there. He's here. Just a big thank you, of course, to Emergent Financial Services for presenting today's show, as well as to our fantastic partners, Miguel and Chita Tradich, Sirius Insurance, Castle Hill Cider, the Jim Seville, Aqua Seville Hand Car Wash, and of course, Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Thank you, our audience, for just showing us all the love today, for all these fantastic entrepreneurs that came on the show. Thank you so much for all you do to make Today y Mañana possible. Thank you.
No, thank you,
Once
Alex.
again, good to be here with you.
Always.
And we look forward to seeing all of you next week. But until that time, as we always say on the show, hasta mañana.